Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Sakshi.
Ma'am, I have given you the right so that we can start.
Yes,
And
thank
for
you.
today's meeting, I have not given the new mic rights to students. I have taken them. So whenever we have doubt, I'll give them the rights again.
All right. Thank you. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Thank you. Okay. Let's start with second session on Python programming. Okay. So before we start about second session, let us try to revise. Am I audible, Sakshi?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Okay.
Everyone, kindly check your network. Ma'am is audible.
Thank you. So in last class, in first session, what we have done, we have discussed about like Python programming features. Okay, so let us try to revise it, what we have done in the first class, right? So we have particularly seen how do we create a variable, what are the different characteristics of the variable. Okay, so how do I give the name, or how do I assign the name to a variable? What are the points on which I should focus? For example, I should not, I am not allowed to use a number in the as a first character. Okay, the first character should not be a number. Okay, otherwise any other special character if I am trying to use in place of while giving the names to variable, then I'm not supposed to. Okay, it will generate the error. So for that sake, we should make sure that we should always follow. We should make sure that we should not give the names where we are using some special characters. Okay, while giving the name for the variables. Apart from that, what else we have discussed? We have discussed how do we use the type function. Okay, type function is basically it returns what type of data or what type of variable that we are providing. Okay, and we have also seen the how do we initialize the variable, and apart from that we have seen how do we check the identity of the variable. Okay, so in the last class we have discussed um, that data object, whenever we create a data object does have some memory address. Okay, whenever I create a data object, what it initially does, it creates the data object at a particular memory location, and whenever I am using some variable name for to refer that particular data object, so what it will do is it increments the it does increment the reference count by 1. Suppose if I am creating alias for that particular variable, then again we can check that we there it will create for the same data object, it creates two different references. Okay, that means two different variable names can access the same data object, right? Like that, we always say that it will be it is more efficient, or Python programming has more memory efficient. Okay, why we say it is more memory efficient? Because it is utilizing like different aliases, it will try to point to the same memory location for that sake. Okay, and one more thing, as we discussed about the features, I think I have not discussed about one more feature of, sorry, I think we haven't discussed one feature of Python programming, which is also very important feature, that is dynamic. Okay, so whenever Python is dynamically typed nature, for example, we have seen static type. Some languages like C programming language is a statically typed. That means when if we are creating a variable, and if we are creating a variable, we are specifying that particular variable will carry some type of integer, okay, or that particular variable will say some sort of float value. Okay, in before you need to inform that what type of variable that you are creating. That means you need to declare it, and later on you define the value to that particular variable. You declare the type, and later on you define the value to that particular variable in C programming language. Whereas in Python programming language, you always try to use, like suppose if I want to have, let me illustrate it with an example. Okay, suppose I want to save x is equals to 10. That means I can always say that my variable x is saving some integer value. You can check the type. Okay, when I check the type, it should return this x, okay, which has 10 value, which is of type integer. So it returns int. And immediately after this, suppose let me print this. If I save string this time, okay, if I try to print its type, now it should, you all know, it should not print the type of x over here. Over here it should print as integer, because till this particular statement x is having, x has stored integer value, correct? Now in this, after this particular statement, what we are doing is we are saving string value inside this particular x. So when I try to check type of x now, it should generate string. Okay, so in a same variable name, initially we are assigning 10, and later on as like after few statements or immediately after that statement only, I'm free to change the type of this particular type as well as value of this particular variable. Okay, so for that sake, how Python program interprets this particular x variable, x it treats as integer, because it has based on what type of value we are assigning, it treats that particular variable belongs to that type, correct? You all must understand x is equals to 10. That means this particular statement should return int. And later on, I'm saving immediately after that statement. If I'm saving some string value inside this particular x, now over here, when I try to print the fourth statement, when I try to print the type of x, then it should print as string. Okay, that is why we say it as a dynamic language. Okay, these are the three different references which I have used for today's session. Okay, you may note and you may refer it further. Let us continue with today's session now. We do have data. Okay, data always represented as an object. Okay, and object does have three different kinds. Okay, first it has identity, the second it has type, the third one it has value. Fine, object and type will remain same. After once we create the object, then its identity as well as its type will remain same. That means these two are unchangeable, correct? Whereas value we may change or we may not change. It depends on what we are interested in. Okay, that means Some of the values we may be able to change in place. Some of the values we are not allowed to change in place. Fine. And let us see, we will discuss in which case or in which type of value we can change, we are allowed to change, and in which cases we are not supposed to. We will discuss that in detail. But any object, any data object has these three different identities. Okay, one is identity, the second one is type, the third one is value. First two are fixed, we cannot change, whereas third one we are free to change only with respect to some of the type. With some type we may not be allowed to change the value or its content. ID we have already discussed. Okay, so let us see on which type of data we can change. Okay, for example, we do have some kind of mutable data type, and we do have some kind of immutable data type. Okay, suppose object whose value can change are known as mutable objects. Okay, and objects whose value are unchangeable once they are created, they are known as immutable data type. Fine. So again, there are different data type which belong to mutable class, and there are some data type which belong to immutable type. Let us discuss those. Mutable examples are list and dictionary, whereas immutable, some examples are numbers, strings, and tuples. All these are examples of immutable type. Okay, let us try to understand the difference between mutable and immutable. By this time, you must know what is mutable. We are allowed to change the values in mutable, whereas in immutable, the name itself suggests that we are not supposed to change the data object values. Okay, example, these two are examples of mutable, and these few examples of immutable type. Okay, let us try to understand with some example. Okay, let us take value of x. Okay, value of x I have saved 150.5, and I would like to print the ID of that x. Why I need ID of that particular variable x? Because just now we have illustrated, or we have explained that number belongs to immutable type. Fine. So let us try to illustrate that. I've saved some number 150.5 in some variable named x, and I try to print that particular where my 150.5 value has been saved. That means the identity of that particular data object. And later on, I try to reassign the value to x. Initially, I have assigned 150.5 to x. Later on, I want to assign 250.5 x, and I just wanted to check its identity. Fine. And I have already executed. You can see the executed cell result or output. So here we are getting two different identities. Okay, same variable name is there. When I have saved 150.5, x is equals to 150.5, that means it creates the value at 150.5. It creates value 150.5 at some memory location, and memory location here is this. Okay, it creates over there, and later on when I try to reassign some other value to x, then it does create new object where it saves the new object as 250.5, and it does create in some other memory location. Okay, suppose if you are using some other language, for example C programming language, then what happens when you repeat the first two statements, x is equals to 150.5, and you try to print address. Suppose 150.5 has saved at this particular, okay, let me copy. 150.5 has saved at this particular memory location. Then it will, when I try to reassign value, okay, then what it will do is it do change the value at the same memory location, right? So it will save now. Earlier at this particular memory location, 150.5 was, we have assigned one, we created 150.5 and it will save at this particular memory location. Later on, when I reassign the value x from 150.5 to 250.5, now this is the result. That means it used to change at the same memory location. It used to change the value of that particular data. Okay, whereas in Python programming, you can check yourself that it has changed the memory location itself. Fine. So this is the result when we use Python programming language. Okay, whereas here in C programming language, it used to, whenever we are trying to reassign the values, that means it used to change the uh, value at that particular memory location itself. Instead of 150, it used to reassign to 250. But here it will not reassign. In fact, it creates with some other memory location. Okay, let me delete these three statements and let us move ahead. So that is why we say it as an numbers are immutable type. Okay, why numbers are immutable type? At this particular memory location, once 150.5 has been saved, then we are not supposed to change the value of that particular location. It will remain same. So, okay, suppose if I want to reassign, then I am allowed to reassign the value to variable with some other data value, for example 250.5, but it will be created at some other memory location. Okay, that is why we say it as an immutable type. Let us try to understand one more example for mutable type. Okay, here definitely I have not covered the data type, but let me explain. Here X is pointing to some list, okay, list of numbers. Fine. X of 0 is 90, X of 1 is 80, and X of 2 is 70, right? So in this, what we have is, we do have, I just trying to print the address of X. Okay, so address of X, here it has saved at this particular memory location. Later on, I changed X of 2 from 70 to 100. When I'm trying to change, then now at this particular step, when I try to print, it is printing, you can check, it is trying to update at the same memory location. For example, initially we have 90, 80, or let me write in short, I have a list comprising of some elements, and I have 3 different elements inside this particular list. Okay, and this X is saved at this particular, X is referring to this particular memory location. What are the contents of this memory location are 90 and 80 and 70. Okay, in the next step, what I have done, I've simply changed X of 2 is equals to 100. Like arrays, even list indexing starts with 0. So X of 0 is 90, X of 1 is 80, and X of 2 is 70. Okay, now what I'm trying to do is X of 2 is equals to 100. I'm changing the value of X of 2. Okay, so what it will result? It will result, X should result, the change will be 90, 80 and 100. Correct. But where it is changing? In this particular example, in the previous example, I said numbers are immutable type. That means immutable is once we have created, we cannot change it. So once we have created, I cannot change its value, right? Whereas in this case, list, I will show you this. Okay, list, I said it belongs to mutable type. That means data object values can change. That means in this, when I try to change from 70 to 100, I am allowed to change that in the same memory location. You can check that. Right? So X address has not been changed, only value has been updated. Fine. This is the example which belongs to mutable type. Just I wanted to check the values of, okay. Wait. Let me put these in comments, otherwise it will generate the syntax error. Okay, you can check 90, 80 and 100. It has updated our list. No need to check the ID because we have already checked and we got the same ID, right? Let us discuss about the data type. Let us start with the data types. Data types, basically, we do have numeric type. In numeric type, we do have three different data type. The first one is integer. The second one is float type. The third one is complex type. Okay. As I said, numeric objects. Okay. Numeric objects are immutable type. That means you know this meaning of this. Immutable meaning, that means once created, their value never changes. Fine. So let us discuss the first one, that is integer type. Here range of the integer type is unlimited. Okay. We do have in integers, we do have two different types, further subtypes. One is integer type, the other one is Boolean type. As you know, Boolean type has only two values. One is true, the other one is false. Okay. And in terms of integers, if I need to discuss, then any non-zero value will be treated as true, whereas zero value is treated as false. We can save some float type. Okay, and float type comes under numeric type only. I can also have some complex type where I can save real and imaginary parts. Okay, and real and imaginary parts of any complex number, suppose complex number is named as Z, then I can retrieve the real and complex values of this particular Z using some attributes known as real and image. Okay, so Z dot real will retrieve the real value of this number, and Z dot imaginary will retrieve me the imaginary value of this particular complex number Z. Let us see some examples on this. You all know any zero elements, if I need to check the Boolean value of that particular element, then it comes out to be false. Okay, and Boolean of 1, any non-zero is considered as true. Okay, it should also be true, right? So here is an example for a complex number. Okay, x is equals to 1 plus 2j. So if I try to check the type of x, so type of x should be, you all know it should be complex. Okay, because we have seen in numeric type, we are allowed to use complex numbers. Okay, so how do I extract? I have already explained there are two different attributes to extract x dot real, real value and imaginary values. So it comes out to be 1 and 2. Let us take the next data type, that is sequence. Okay, numeric type is over. Let us discuss the next one, that is sequences. In this, these represents the finite ordered sets. Okay, indexed by non-negative numbers. Okay, indexing always starts from 0. Okay, now we can use some function such as slice, just to get the subsequence out of the sequence. Okay, suppose I have x. Let me illustrate. I have x where x has some numbers from 0 to n minus 1. Okay, now if I want to extract the second to fourth character, then what I will be doing is I will be using the subscript operator, and I say what from which particular data item I want to retrieve. I want to retrieve from 2 until what I want till 4. So what I need to do is I need to give here 5. Why 5? Because here this is the starting point from where I want the sequence value to be printed, and the second one is from till what. Okay, so it will not include fifth element. Instead it takes one less, that is 5 minus 1, 4. So it prints, if I take this subscript values, then it extracts the subsequence out of the sequence from second element up to fourth element. Okay, let us take one such example, that is string. String, we all know that it is nothing but sequence of characters. Okay, how do I access each character? It can be accessed with this operator that we call it as a subscript operator. Okay, for example, I have some string, okay, Ankita. I have a variable name equals to Ankita. That means I do have saved Ankita. Here is a string. I have saved this particular string in the variable called name. Okay. So whenever I'm trying to extract the here first character, if I'm trying to extract the first character, what happens? I said indexing in sequence starts at 0. So this letter is 0th index. This is placed at first index. This is placed at second index, and so on. Okay. So here, whenever I do extract char name is name of 1, then what it will do is it is taking the index at which you want to extract. Okay, I want to extract the character of this particular string. Of which character you want to extract, you need to give the index of that. Okay, here I want to extract 1. Okay, name of 1. So here what I wanted to extract, I wanted to extract n. Okay, so what should be the output of this? Output of this should be, it should generate the character which is saved at first location of this string, that is Ankita. Correct. So let us try to illustrate some example, some more functions. We do have some function, built-in function length, which can be applied on string. Okay, when I try to find length of name, so and later on when I try to okay, L is equals to length of name. In L I'm trying to save the length of this. Here length is simply checks the how many characters are there in this particular string, and it just gives that particular value. It returns number of characters within that particular string. Okay, and I'm trying to print that. That is what we are doing in this particular cell. So what it should do, it should generate the value as 6. Correct. We do also have the facility to save the empty string. Okay, empty strings are saved, and whenever we are saving the empty string, what happens? It provides the length as 0. Okay, why it provides the length as 0? Because I haven't saved any I just created some string, but I have not allocated any character or any value in that particular string. Hence length will remain 0. Okay. So now how do I extract, given this particular string, given name, how do I extract the second character I got? How do I extract the second character? I know indexing starts with 0. So I start with 0. And if I want to extract the first character, I simply say name of 0. If I want to extract second character, I say name of 1. Similarly, name of, I need to give the associated index. Okay. Similarly, if I want to have name of, if I want to retrieve the last character, then what I can do is I can simply check the length, whatever length is there. So I simply subtract it by 1 because my indexing is starting from 0. So length will always be, how do I extract the last character? It is always L minus 1. So it gives A. Okay. This is one way to extract the last character. We do have in Python the other way also. For example, I simply give the index value as -1. So whenever we are writing -1, then what happens? It extracts the last character. Okay, let me execute and show you. It extracts the last character. Fine. In a similar way, if I want to extract the second last character, I simply write down it as -2. So it returns T. Third most last character, so it returns me as I, and so on. Okay, like this, I will always start with, if I want to extract element wise, I start with 0. I starts indexing with 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on until I reach L minus 1, or else you start, if you want to print in a from last, if you want to print any last character, any of the last character, either you go for L minus that character, or else better you go for -1, -2, and so on. These are the alternate ways to extract the characters. Right. So let us move ahead. Let us discuss about the string slices. Okay. As I have already said that if some sequence exists, then I can have substring, a subsequence out of this particular sequence. For example, I do have in string, I do have Python programming, okay, as my string. And later on, I want to extract some substring out of this particular string. Okay, here let us try to see how do I achieve that first. Okay, first I want to have some substring. I just named it as sub1 as my variable name, where it should extract the substring of my string. So I will provide the name of the string from which I want the substring to be extracted. Okay, name of the string. Here I want to extract all characters, okay, from 0 to 5. Okay. Why it will not take sixth character? Because we know indexing started with 0. So it takes from 0 to L minus 1. So it takes 0 to 5. Okay. So we know in this string has started with 0, 0. So this should also be there 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in substring sub1, Python should be printed. Correct? Here in the next cell, what I want to extract some characters. Okay, again, I want to extract the substring, but in this, you can check I've not given the starting index. Okay, here I have already explained. I need to give start index and end index. Okay, so it will extract all the character from start index till end index -1. So in this particular example, if we have not given the start index, automatically it takes it as 0. Okay. So it gives the same result as the previous case. That means it extracts Python. because I have not given the start index. Even though I have not given the start index, I just mentioned colon and then I have given the end index. That means it extracts the substring of the string. Okay, from which character it will start? It will start from 0th character and it takes up to 5th location. Okay, in sub2 will also retrieve me the same result, that is Python. Let us move to the next one. What this particular cell is retrieving, again it is trying to retrieve some substring out of string. Okay, let us try to check what type of substring it will extract now. So str of 7 colon nothing. That means I have mentioned at this step I have mentioned I want to extract from 7th character, and end character I have not extract. I have not given any value to end character. That means it will start from 7th character. It retrieves and saves all the characters of this str in sub 3. Okay, substring 3 starting from 7th. Because I've not mentioned any end value, so for that sake what it will do, it takes all the characters till it reaches the last character. Okay, including last character, it considers all the characters from this particular start index to all characters. Okay, that means from 7th character is P. From this P, it prints all the characters up to G. So you can check here, output should be programming. Okay, let us try to see. In this, I have not given the starting index. By default, it has taken as 0. In this, I have not given the end index. By default, it has taken all characters up to last. Okay. Whereas if I have not given any start or end, I simply mentioned it as colon, then it should print all the characters of the string. All the characters of the string, you can note here. Okay, full string has been printed. Wherever str is there, whatever value of str is there, full string got printed. Let us try to check str of 0k. Instead of Python programming, I just wanted to check Python programming. I just wanted to replace P with K. Okay, so if I try to check, so it results me the uh, output as error saying that strings are immutable type. Okay, so for that sake it will generate the error. So let us try to use some operator named in. In operator, what it will check whether this particular substring exists in this particular string. Okay, whether we have seen in str, we have saved Python programming. Value of str is Python programming. So whenever I use in operator, I am mentioning whether this particular string exists in this particular string or not. So it is giving the value as true, because we know in Python programming this substring exists in this particular string. Okay, let us discuss some methods of strings. Before discussing string methods, we have seen how do we give how do I initialize string value to a variable. Okay, I can take you to the first cell of string where we have started with. We started somewhere over here. Okay, somewhere over here. I have used single double quotes. Okay, so like this, I just to specify that this is the string. Ankita is a string. Just to string is nothing but set of characters, sequence of characters, right? To specify that this particular Ankita is a string, so what I need to do is I need to place Ankita inside the double quotes. Okay, so let us go back to string methods. This particular string methods, what we have done, we we have specified before string methods. Let us discuss how do I specify the strings in Python programming. We do have two different methods. One is either use one single or one double quotes to specify the string, okay, or else use three different single or double quotes, which is also allowed, okay. So I will explain single line when why I have suggested here as single line, why I have written here the line multiple lines. I will illustrate with an example, okay. In this particular cell I will illustrate it example. Hello, how are you? So we have hello will be. That means the string is, we are able to span the string in not only line, but we can span over multiple lines. Okay, we can have multiple line strings. Instead of single quote, if you want to illustrate with a instead of the three double quotes, you can also have three single quotes in order to make the string or multiple span the string over multiple lines. You can do that also. And let us try it. Let me execute again. See, I have checked. I'm able to either using double quotes, three double quotes, or three single quotes. I'm able to span this particular string over multiple lines. Here only two lines are used, but you can have multiple lines in your program, right? So if let me change here. Let me change from three single or three double quotes to one single quote. Okay, let me try to execute. So it should generate the error that we are trying to span the string using single quote. We are one single quote, we are trying to span the string in two lines, which is not allowed. We either use one single quote or one double quote, which is not allowed. Again it will generate the error, you can see here, right? So whenever you have a small whenever you are working with a small strings, then better you use one single or double quotes. But if you are working with some kind of text, for example, if you are working with some program where you need to extract multiple paragraphs and you need to read multiple paragraphs, okay, so in that case better you use three or three double quotes. Okay, let us try to use some methods, built-in methods. Okay, so in this str dot swap case, fine. So what we have used in what we have saved in str we have saved I think that Python programming is saved where p is capital. So swap case, what it will do is name itself that it swaps the case from lower to upper and upper to lower. Only p was capital, it will turn to small, whereas rest all other characters will be capitalized. You can note here. So now instead of using swap case, so what I want to use is on that particular str, I wanted to apply upper function. Okay, that means upper function is to convert from lower to upper. All characters of the string will be converted from lower to the uppercase. If already mentioned it as an uppercase, then there is no issue, right? So all characters, right? So initially in str only p was capital, but when I apply upper, all character will be capitalized. When you apply lower, all characters will be in small letters. I will illustrate the next cell later on. Let us try to check the next one, that is start with. Okay. So here what I wanted to do, I wanted to build programming. So I just wanted to check whether this particular string, in this particular string, whether it is starting with pi or not. Okay. It simply returns answer in terms of true or false. Okay. Yeah, because I've printed Python string itself, so it has given Python programming, but uh, output of this particular statement is coming out to be because the string has the substring. Suppose if you give some other character, then it should generate the output as false. See, here it has generated the output as false, right? Let us discuss about some operator named as format operator, which is associated with strings. Okay. So when I use this particular operator, you might have seen in the other languages as well. So this operator, if we apply on some integer values, so definitely it does retrieve the remainder, right? So, but here, what is the role of percentile, that is format operator? Let us discuss that. This is this particular operator with respect to string we are discussing. Okay. So whenever I initialize a is equals to 10, okay, in this particular string, a equals to percentile d. So what it will do is it simply specify the format sequence. Okay, with this format operator, I need to say, I need to give the format operator and with which value you want to replace. That means here I have illustrated it as a is equals to percentile d. Percentile d. So whatever value that you are replacing here, that value should be of integer type. Okay. So for that sake, here format sequence percentile a. You check here, a is integer 10. So what it will do is it simply replaces this particular string to percentile d. In this particular percentile d, it simply replaces value of a. Okay. So for that sake, it generates the output as a equals to 10. Correct. So in the next cell, what you have done here, you are trying to do your format operator on single value. Okay, I just wanted to replace the value of integer, one value of integer. Otherwise, if you want to replace or if you want to use format operator on sequence of on sequence of different data types, so in that case, what you can do is again specify the string. Inside this particular string, with which value you are replacing, you need to specify. For example, here percentile d. So a equals to percentile d. So a equal to will be printed as it is, but percentile d will be replaced with this particular value, that is a. Similarly, b is equals to percentile g. So it will be replaced with the value of b. Okay, b is of type float type. Okay, so to get the float value, I do represent the b is equal to percentile g. In a similar way, string equals to string is represented with percentile s. Okay, so whenever you need to use more than one format sequence, then the you are not supposed to use it like percentile a, percentile b, percentile c, and so on. Rather, you will use the format sequence. You will use this particular operator, that is format sequence operator, and later on you need to create the tuple. Okay, what is tuple? Right now you just try to understand. Again, it has set of different data types. Okay, so here we do have a which is of integer type. We do have b which is of type, and we do have third variable which is of type string. Okay, all these integer, float, and as well as the string have been specified inside particular tuple. How do I use the how do we create the list? We have created in above, we have created the list using this square brackets. How do I create the tuple? We will discuss in detail how to create the tuple, or how do we use different functionalities on the tuple. We will discuss in maybe in coming session, but let us try to understand how do we create the tuple. Can be created of parentheses. Inside the parentheses, I will simply specify different elements that I want to say. Here I have saved A, B, and S. Okay, so simply how it will take percentile D is replaced with this value of A, that is integer value. Percentile G replaced with value of B, that is float value. Percentile S will be replaced with S, that is string. Correct? Okay. Let's try to understand one few more examples on this format operator. So again here print A is equals to percentile D, B is equals to percentile G, and string is equals to percentile S. And here in this particular sequence, after this particular string, I'm giving the formats operator percentile, and inside this tuple, I have created only variables. So it demands how many? It demands for we need to replace 3 different values. Okay, so in that case, what it will do is it generates the saying that even though you have created the string where you need to specify 3 different format specifiers, but what you are giving the 2. That's it. It will generate the error not enough for format string. Okay, let's try to understand this particular example. Okay. Print A is equals to percentile B, okay, and I'm specifying the format specifier, format operator, and in this format operator I mentioned 0.5. Okay, so when you do it as 10.5, I know this 10.5 here this time not number. It is not number. What I want some number which is of which should be in the form of integer. But what you are passing the string value. How do I say I'm passing the string value? Because of these quotes. Because of these quotes. So whenever you are trying to do that, again it will generate the error. Percentile D, a number is required, not the string. Right? So subsequent type, today we have discussed about string, and I hope I will complete, I will stop here, and in the next session we will start with different data type. Okay, go through today's session and try to work on this particular string, and different how to use different methods is string. How do I apply different methods on the string? And if any doubts, then do let me know with respect to today's session.
Participants have given you that right. If you have doubt, then you can unmute yourself.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, please.
What is the difference between a list or a tuple?
Okay, we will illustrate. We are going to discuss in detail about list and tuple in coming sessions. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Any doubt in today's session? Let me know.
No, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
When like you told about that
Yes,
in a
please.
print statement we use different data types along with the information. When like you said that we have to mention like a equals to integer value and like string equals to string value. And why haven't we used the commas between them inside of semicolons, inside of double commas?
Inside of double commas means. Can you send me in a chart?
When double quotes, not double commas.
I'm not getting your query. Can you repeat?
I'm saying that in the print statement like we have used string one and character one, for example. And why we haven't used commas
Okay.
between them by to distinguish between two data types?
I will share the screen again.
Actually, ma'am, he is asking
Let me
about
know.
the separation of two data elements. Is there a need of a comma or semicolon or anything else for separating two data types? Two data elements, ma'am, not data types.
No, it's not required.
I think,
It's
ma'am,
not.
is asking about concatenation operator.
Concatenation operator we will discuss in detail. Okay, how do we concatenate two different strings and all? Okay, but can you send me in a chat whatever your doubt is? Let me clarify it.
I'm talking about catenation only, ma'am.
Okay, concatenation we will discuss in detail. Don't worry.
Ma'am, I have a query that for floating value, we use format specifier G rather than we can use a %f.
In Python programming, we do have with percentile G only. We do specify with percentile G only. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
That is definitely in other programming language we do have defs in C and all, but in Python we do use percentile G.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, there is one another question.
Yeah.
We are reassigning values to a variable. Every time we reassign the value and we
Yes.
access the previous value, then what we have to do, ma'am?
Then you need to keep some aliases, like take the temporary variable and for example, a is equals to 10 and you want to change value of that 10, value of a. Okay, instead of it is referring to 10 object, it should refer to some other object. So what you do is you take one more variable. It should now where that particular new variable should point to 10, object 10, right? So b is equals to a. You simply do this statement so that at least if in the next statement you are doing a is equals to some other some value, for example 20.5, then what you can do is at least you will have one reference which is pointing to 20.5 and one reference which is pointing to the previous, that is 10.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
only
Okay.
is that.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Ma'am, can you repeat the last section, that is format? What is format? Oh, I didn't got it.
Can you repeat your query, please? What I need to repeat?
Format, ma'am. For last section.
Format. Okay. So inside the string, like in C programming language, if you are aware of C programming language, we used to write printf, and we used to write down some string A is equals to percentile D, B is equals to those, and later on put a comma, and later on you used to substitute with variable value. You used to mention variable values. Okay. So for example, printf percentile D and percentile D in double quotes, comma, some variable value, let us say A. Then A will be, that percentile D will be replaced with the variable value. In a similar way, we can do in programming language with the help of string form, that format operator we can achieve. Okay. Inside the string, if I need to substitute some variable value, that variable value can be integer type, that variable can be float type or any other types. So I need to specify which operator, which type you want to substitute with. So with the help of percentile operator, you can do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any other doubt?
Hello, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Ma'am, after this meeting, should we join another meeting, or this is end for today?
Today we are ending the session.
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm not added in a WhatsApp group till now.
Sakshi,
yes, ma'am.
Sakshi,
You have to send
please
your
take,
contact number. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
please take
actually, the YouTube link
please take
provided
the
in
query.
WhatsApp group is
Yes,
not,
ma'am.
ma'am,
Yes. Yes, Pradeep. What's your doubt?
मैम मैम यूट्यूब लिंक जो है लेक्चर का वो काम नहीं कर रहा जो ग्रुप में आया हुआ है व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में.
That is working. वो चलता है.
ओके ओके ओके
दोबारा चेक करो. That is working.
या आई गॉट इट एज अ टेस्ट नॉट एज अ.
हम जिन्होंने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप अभी ज्वाइन करा है तो उनको यूट्यूब लिंक मिला नहीं है तो दोबारा सेंड कर दो ग्रुप में.
कौन सा लिंक?
मैम यूट्यूब लिंक.
हर रोज सेशन के बाद दोबारा शेयर हो जाएगा. आज का भी सेशन में आपका शेयर होगा तब आपको
मैम वो कल वाला हुआ नहीं था तो मैम रात को ही ऐड हुए थे तो.
ओके. आज शाम तक दोनों दोबारा आ जाएंगे.
Ma'am, I can't get the roll number and also the WhatsApp group.
मैंने स्टार्टिंग में तभी आपको बोला था those who are left
Sakshi,
add in your chat. Yes, ma'am.
let me know if there are any technical queries. Otherwise, I will leave. And later on, you can please take
Okay.
queries.
So anyone having any doubt regarding the session?
Ma'am, please send the link of attendance.
No, ma'am.
I'm not asking about attendance on anything, just your practical session. Any
Hello,
doubt
ma'am.
that?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes,
I have a
ma'am,
doubt.
I have a doubt, ma'am. In Python, we use format specifier, but and ma'am, we can use formatting operator like percentage for formatting and getting multiple inputs.
Yes.
How, ma'am, it is possible?
How it is possible means?
Ma'am, how can I get multiple inputs
We will
using
discuss.
percentage format?
We will discuss in detail. I haven't discussed how do we print. There are different ways of printing the values. Okay, so print and as well as how do I get the input from the user, we will discuss in detail in the session. Okay, if any doubts in today's session, you may ask, please.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Sakshi, ma'am. Hello.
If you have any doubt regarding your attendance or anything, I'll take that later. First, clear your practical doubts from Padmavati ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. I have a doubt. You already talked about that putting of double inverted double inverted. What do you mean that really?
Double
Inverted comma.
double quotes.
Yes, ma'am.
Double quotes again, there is a specific format where I can specify the Python interpreter that this is the I need to tell this is the integer value, this is a float value, this is the string. So to specify string value, I need to specify either using single quote or using double quotes.
Ma'am, any
Okay.
particular? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Any particular which place we have to use single quote and which place we have used double quote?
Okay, I have already explained in the session also that usually we go for like if I need to have a very small string, okay, like 4 to 5 words of string, then better you use single quote and one single quote or use one double quote. Or if your string is very long, in that case, like more than one line, then better to use or the only option with you is use either 3 single quotes or use 3 double quotes. Only this is the difference.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. My question, it is about the format operator. So the format operator for float, is it G only, or you have another format operator for float?
Yeah, it is for float we do use G, percentile G.
So do we have another formatting operator other than G?
I haven't used, you can check. Okay, I have used only percentile G.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other doubts?
Any other practical doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
मैम जो इनऑपरेटर था वो समझा दो.
Can you go through the video again? Because go through the video. If you still have doubt, then I will take it.
Okay, ma'am.
Sakshi, do provide them the video link.
Okay,
Right? Let them go through it, and if they have still further doubts, I will take their query before starting the next session. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other practical doubt?
Yes. Hello, ma'am. My question is, like, you talk about creating tuples in using the parentheses. So, but it seems like, do you give any examples with regards to how it
Yeah,
is
we
used
will
for?
discuss. We will discuss in detail about other types. Okay, like in upcoming classes sessions, we will discuss about other types in detail because we need to check we need to see the feature. How do we initialize the tuple and what are the different operations with which I can use the tuple. So it will take a longer time if I start explaining now. So maybe first I will take list and later on I will take the tuple and later on I will take the set. Okay. We do,
Okay,
and
so
we do have one more important type, that is dictionary as well. So hopefully we will be covering all the types in single session, one session each.
okay, is this the end of the session for today?
Yeah, it is the end of the session today.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, as you have used double quotes 3 times.
Yes.
So, ma'am, what's the difference in using 3 times or single time?
I have already explained in the video. I have also repeated this question just now. So better you go through the video again, and if still doubt exists, then we will solve it.
Okay, ma'am.
Right? I've already explained.
Does
Twice.
it does it need for only when we are writing multiple strings?
Yes.
Ma'am, do we need to use 3 times when we are writing multiple strings?
Yes. I have
Okay,
already
ma'am.
explained. You already got the point, but still again you are asking this query. For single line, I will use one single quote or double quote, or for multiple lines, I will use 3 quotes or 3 double quotes or 3 single quote.
Okay, ma'am. I am just clearing myself.
Okay, fine.
Anybody else?
Okay, Sakshi?
Yes,
Then
ma'am. I think we can
take
end.
the mails. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Welcome. Now about your queries regarding the attendance, everything. Those who haven't yet not been added to the WhatsApp group, you leave your messages tomorrow at the start of the session, because those who have left their chat in their numbers in the chat window during the lecture, I have added them. So those who have still not been added, you kindly message me in the chat window in the starting of tomorrow's lecture. And for your roll numbers, I'll again send that in your WhatsApp group.
मैम जैसे जिनके नाम सेम है वो कैसे करेंगे रोल नंबर?
सरनेम चेंज, लास्ट नेम चेंज होगा उनका.
नहीं मैम, लास्ट नेम भी सेम है.
मैं चेक करूंगी, अदरवाइज यू यूज द फर्स्ट वन. अगर आपका डबल आ रहा है तो आप जो फर्स्ट रोल नंबर असाइन हुआ है वो यूज कर लो अभी. बाकी मैं कल आपको चेक करके बता दूंगी.
मैम रोल नंबर में स्टार्टिंग में PL है या PI है?
PI. Any other doubt? And for your attendance, refer in the chat window. There is an attendance link that is in the format of Google form. You need to fill that form, and that will be available for the next 10 to 15 minutes only. So fill that before it expires. I think that's fine with everyone now.